Chapter 14, Train up a child. Wanyenye que vu returned home after 3 weeks and was met with open arms. How was your vacation, said OBE. Wanyenye que vu talked about it. He never considered it a vacation, but I guess it was. It was beautiful, and look. We brought back souvenir. Pointing to Fireball and Ice. Yena? Jom smiled, Jala. Jala just smiled, what? The following year, the puppy grew and started having pup. They moved them to a section where they could feed off the land where no one wanted to live. Rattlesnake, Gila monsters, prairie dogs, coyote, javelina, jaguar, bighorn sheep, and jackrabbit were plentiful for them. Jala and Aneya trained Terriena in terre martial art form and slowly created a battalion of their own, composed of men, women, and children. Who had gift accordingly. Wanyenye que vus work around the house and his duty a council member and commander-in-chief pu great demand him. Spending time with Queen seemed impossible, so he instructed the eldest children to teach his youngest so he could spend time with Queen. Jala and Anya were happy with the idea and began as soon as possible. At the same time, Wanyenye que vu enjoyer Queen because she, too, was frustrated with the idea of them not seeing each other. They both started acting like high school sweethearts, and the entire town saw it. Wanyenye que vu wrote Petri of love to her, lock and key. You and me, you hold the lock, I have the key. You and me, lock and key. I hope to think, I can unlock your heart. And you, have the key to my destiny. You and me, lock and key. I took tick new love before, but for some reason, I think you are here to open that door. You and me, lock and key. Everything I ever wanted, I would settle for a few missing pieces. You have it all. Now, I don't want to settle for less, like I did the rest. You and me, lock and key. E who wrote, My Queen. Insight into a brief history. In the days of all, let the truth be told. How the men treated their women especially from the times of Sodom and Gomorrah, up until the Roman era. Women, all were afraid to look upon a mirror. Reason. Men fell in love with men. No, they didn't take care for them. Women were only used to bury children cook, clean, no power, no word they formed were of any good. Never heard. Yes, that was the norm back then. Men. They were looking for the touch of another man. This sickens my soul, let the truth be told. Until the Isle of Lesbos were formed, women fell in love with other women, a perverted state for the human race. Now, many ask me why do you cry? Trying to defend the state of these women. I reply, with one last tear in my eye. I'm only alpha being. In order to be whole, I need someone to comfort my soul, a woman. A woman is the only thing for me, to be complete, truly made whole. Growing up, I may lust and love. Love was the one for me. Can't you see? Oui, a man have bitten the hand of the one that is dear to us. Why argue, fuss and fight? Now, all we go through is purell. Cause of the men in their past, did the same. Blame all, because of one. He can't do anything with another man. That will not comfort my soul. No man can make me whole. The touch of a woman is all I need. My heart bleed for that need. Homosexuality is rampant. Yes, evions the scene. That is for them, not for me. All I need, is my queen. E who wrote, Single parent household. He was told before he got all, that there are 4 types of women. First, and on top. A woman. Then there's a lady. You have your bitch. And lastly, them house. We would lose more than half these house, if we get rid of single parent household. Let me explain before you put dirt on my name. There's a lot of things you just won't understand living in a single parent household. Single parent is a single-seeded coin. Some body lying. Many are dying. Who to believe? Or do we automatically believe? That person you si on a delibazi. Tell you is fault, bu won't conf tout ter de se, ter betrayal. Some team it's true. Some team the truth comes out late, and make you blue. Betrayed by the liar, betrayed by mama. Her word you took were true, to you. So, you hate that man. Your father. But he did the best he could and the only thing he can. She wanted more and became the war. Why? He cry. Why? Because he can. This story might only be for black folk, living in this land. This is not all, but it's for more than a few. Who do what they do. Let me get back to the classification, attend. Just found out, many women like to classify themselves, just a bitch. And the FOE, and no more. They say it's only one. That can't be no fun. Here's my definition of a woman. Understanding the situation and act accordingly. No nagging. No complaining, get the job done, because it affects the family. It affects you and me. Or family. Then there's a lady. She's young. Single. And looking for a perfect candidate, she's feminine, friendly, buby hour of the beach. A bitch, a snitch, this motherfucker got more strong, and got control over all the men. She knows the game and she's playing chess to or checkers. So, ILL say no more. And lastly, the O. Simple. Anything goes. This shit comes from my soul. This shit called single parent household. Look at it, it's listed on your tax. Another write-offs for shit we be doing. Murder, rape, carjacking. Looking at my kin. My people. ILL say this a few more times and you will never hear it again in my rhythm. In my rhyme. Those of us who lived in a two-parent household and those of us who lived in a single-parent household can. Won't understand. If the single parent is a mother it depends on the outcome. Is she a hard worker? But who is raising the kid? The street. If she works from home when will the boys tell his mother, I'm grown and now he is gone. If she's a O and she's a O. Fuck it he can't say momo. Not true for everyone, but the number is large. Cause I'm one. Then you got the ones, and this could be fun. Who is a gangster atat, and that nigga gone. Like a rap song. But YLL not masculine? Différentes variations, of different situations but enter the two-parent household. Less cow. Didn't he say none? He said less. There's some kind of structure. Moral, and a way to act. A united front is amongst us. Don't get me wrong. Teros in that fold. Let me end. More positive and understanding come from a two-parent household. And it's sanctioned by God. So, you know you will go far. But chaos and uncertainty. Come out of a single parent household. You been told. Forewarned. It has been shown. Look around and see how we living, how we dying. Chaos unfold. In a single parent household. Eurot, your soul speak amin. It's amazing. How can to think the same? Even colon is holy name. Moral and understanding are even the same. Both write about our feeling like David and his wife Sheba. The right and wrong we have done. You know life teach you, but if you catch life as clues. Of what you can and can't do. Wisdom doesn't always come with age. It comes with trial and tribulation. Not everyone knows the same. But with you we feel the same, about God. I hope me and you can be a one. You are so wonderful to me. I hope you can always be mine. There are things I know, I need to do. Maybe there are some things you need to do too, before we can join to be a one. This is not a joke, not a game, or even a lie. I once was lost, but now I've been found. You are definitely one of a kind. And I feel that your soul, speak a mine. Et who wrote the reason? You have a heart of gold. You are bold. You speak your mind and stick. Supportive, considerate. Show appreciation. A loving mother. This is what I noticed, not something I was told. Down to earth and cool. No man can ask for much more. It make my heart soar, through all 4 seasons. You asked, why do I love you so much? Here, baby. Here are the reason. E wrote, between your thighs. When you look into each other's eyes, and you kiss the one you miss. Emotion flows, emotion go. But why? No one kiss anymore, why? They just want to get between the thighs, and still don't look into each other's eyes. I cry. There's no surprise, what we all have between our thighs. It's a work of art, invented by God, for God. Not to hurt, and do dirt. Many of us we act as if it's a sin to love. Be in love, make love. Share our love. True. There are some who abuse the word love, I myself can't abuse it, can't misuse it. But in the long run, they were hurt by love, but their love, just might have been lust. Why? For their selfish need. I guess they were confused about the meaning of the word they could have found, was nothing more, than lust. It's just the opposite of love, believe me, there is a difference. Listen. To take some honest at, just to get between the thighs. To make money, to give, or to get money, just to get between the thighs. To the save in order to receive, the procedure. The procedure gift between the thighs. Mal or female. It's so wrong. That is why you sing that song, you sing. Knowing many don't believe in love anymore, and lust has taken over. Many die, between the thighs, by a disease sans from on high. I can hear many of you, now saying. Es just a fool, think es cool, or eating this mess, with his mind in the gutte. You're all wrong, are is just that. Are, and love is just that. Love. It's how you perceive that particular piece of artwork. What is lovely to other, is trash to another. The same token is taken between the thighs. Question. What if there was nothing between the thighs? What would be your course of action? Reaction to one another. Yell way for your reply. And they also wrote, African Queen. Moonly Eyes. Germant chocolate skin. Lips of an African Queen. This is no lie. Your beauty just might be a sin. Better yet the most perfect thing I've ever seen. Yes, the perfect blanc. Hard, but gentle. Mine, buquin. How I feel so comfortable when you're on my mind. So relaxing, so smooth, like a raindrop falling on the morning dew. Yes, this is you. Beautiful, beautiful, oh, so beautiful to me. To my African Queen, of my dream. Jala was excited to teach her sibling because she loved the story like her father, and Aneya loved the art. They both talked their sibling until they discovered what they loved, and, like a domino effect, one unique view and Queen's children became very popular for their wisdom as well. Aneya was convinced that there wasn't any such thing a music genre and talked about some grit. Like Miles J., Miles Davis, Grover Washington Jr., and Chester Arthur Burnett, better known by his stage name Howlin' Wolf. She even talked about some of the amazing athletes she admired. Joe Gant became the greatest lightweight boxer of all time back in 1902 when he defeated the former world welterweight champion, Eddie Connolly. He also was the first African American world title holder in any sport. A Wakatilian champion reigning during the Jim Crow era, he endured physical assault, a stolen title, bankruptcy, and many attempts to destroy his reputation. Then there was a Wakatilian Ahmed Major Taylor, a young Wakatilian man who wanted to compete in cycling, the nation's most popular sport that was mostly played and dominated by white men. But Mr. Taylor became the fastest man in the world during his time. 12 years before boxer Jack Johnson and 50 years before baseball player Jackie Robinson, Taylor faced racism at nearly every turn, especially by white who feared they would disprove their stereotype of Wakatilian. Jala was passionate, and some would say dramatic, when she talked, 22 years before the brutal murder of 14-year-old Emmett Till. Who was brutally killed in the same way in Princess Anne, Maryland? Jala asked as she looked at her brothers and sisters. Aneya raised her hand, not you, Aneya. She waited a few seconds. Anion? Frustrated, she said. Get out your pad, now. Everyone pulled out their pad as Jala looked on, this doesn't make any sense. George Armwood, a 23-year-old Wakatilian, was dragged from a cell, stabbed, and then lynched on a tree before some 2,000 white folk. Afterward, he was broke down, burnt, and his charred body was dragged through the town with his body part thrown towards the carte of the Wakatilian. For what? Making gesture with her hand as she continued, allegedly, assaulted a 71-year-old white woman named Mary Dunston, was a policeman. Mrs. Dunston said she was walking down the road when Armwood assaulted her. He was then taken to Salisbury Jail, miles away from Princess Anne, to avoid mob justice because there had been a lynching 2 years before of another Wakatilian named Matthew Williams. The local press sur Somerset County Judge Robert F. Dewey and State Attorney John Robin to return Armwood. Eventually, the governor, Albert Ritchie, stepped in, and they returned Armwood to Somerset County, placed on the jail's second floor with all the other Wakatilian prisoners. A crowd quickly assembled with battering ram and breached the jail's doors. An 18-year-old boy immediately cut off his ear with a butcher knife. The growing mob beat Armwood nearly to death, dragged him to a tree, and hanged him. Afterward, the mob cut down his corpse, dragged it through the street, hanged it again, and staged a public burning. One white man said, Endicott, it would have cost the state $2,000 to hang the man. It cost US 75 cents. This sparked a national outcry and called for the prosecution of the culprit, yet investigation at the county, state, and federal level faced obstacle and delay. When presented with identifying evidence, the county prosecutor refused to act after the Maryland Attorney General ordered the arrest of 8 people, white residents who supported the alleged killers provoked protest Rio. 1. All-white jury ultimately found them not guilty. For Wakatilian, this period had been both a period of great and doom. World War II and the Civil War were behind us. But one particular event happened during this time, but it took 100 years after the event for anyone to hear about what happened. In the summer of 1919, hundreds of Wakatilians were burned alive, shot, lynched, and beaten to death by white mob. Thousands of their homes and business burned to the ground and were driven out, many never to return. It was called Red Summer because of the bloodshed and amounted to some of the worst white on black violence in US history. Beyond the lives and family fortune lost, it had far-reaching repercussions, contributing to generations of black distrust of white authority. It prompted black to defend themselves and their neighborhood with fists and guns. Revitalized civil rights organizations like the NACAC inspired black journalists to do courageous reporting and influenced subsequent leaders who would fight for racial equality. Sage Mathieu, a history professor, once said, "The people who were the icon of the civil rights movement were raised by the people who survived Red Summer, for history books ignore it. Most museums didn't acknowledge it, for it contradicted the post-World War era notion that America was making the world safe for democracy. Over 250 black were killed, and at least 25 Rio by white mob that never faced punishment within 10 months. Historian John Hope Franklin called it the greatest period of interracial strife the nation has ever witnessed. Many say the Wakatilians who were returning from World War I started it all, for they were expecting the same rights they had fought for and bled for in Europe. Wakatilians were moving north to escape the brutal Jim Crow laws of the South, but saw them a competition for jobs, homes, and political power. Ethnic cleansing was the goal of the White Riot, said William Tuttle, a retired professor of American Studies and author of Race Rio, Chicago in the Red Summer of 1919. He said, and he quote, "They wanted to kill as many black people as possible and to terrorize the rest until they were willing to live and live someplace else." The violence didn't start nor did it end in 1919. Some count Red Summer era a beginning with the death of over 2,000 Wakatilians in East St. Louis, Missouri, in 1917 and extending through the Rosewood Massacre. At least 1,122 Americans were killed in racial violence over those 6 years. In 1919 alone, violence erupted in places like New York, Memphis, Tennessee, and Philadelphia, just to name a few. In Washington, D.C., a white mob, primarily war veterans, rampaged over the weekend of July 19 à 22, beating any Wakatilian they could find after false rumor of a white woman being assaulted by black men spread. The riot beat a Wakatilian with club and stones who rapped in handkerchief lying in the street for over 20 minutes before being taken to the hospital. Sensing the failure of the police, the mob became even more contemptuous of authority, and 2 more Wakatilians were attacked and beaten directly in front of the White House. Carter G. Woodson, the historian who founded Black History Month in 1926, saw the violence up close. Poor Wakatilian sharecroppers in Ellen, Arkansas, were beaten and killed after they dared to join a labor union. Wakatilian journalist Ida B. Wells noted that they dragged Lula Black from her farm after saying she would join the union. They knocked her down, beat her over the head with their pistol, kicked her, almost killed her, then took her to jail. Wells wrote in her report, The Arkansas Race Rio. The same mob went to Frank Hall's house and killed Frances Hall, a crazy old woman who skipped her, tie her cloth over her head, and threw her body in the road where it lay exposed till the soldier came and took it up. Wakatilian journalists like Wells played an essential role in getting these stories out. Kevin Stray, a curator at the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, wrote, Black newspapers like the Chicago Defender helped to provide an alternative voice that represented why African Americans deserved to be here, deserved equal rights, and was so team, justified in fighting. Red Summer marked a new era of black resistance to white injustice, with African Americans standing up in unprecedented number and killing some of their tormentors. Again, the returning Wakatilian soldier from World War I led the charge, using skill they refined in Europe. The Germans weren't the enemy was right here at home, said Harry Haywood in his autobiography, a black communist in the freedom struggle, The Life of Harry Haywood. In Washington, Carrie Johnson, 17, became a hero for shooting at white invader in her neighborhood. She fatally shot a white policeman who broke into her second-story bedroom. She claimed self-defense, and her manslaughter conviction was overturned. The Nakak gained about 100. 200 members that year. Soon, Wakatilian were going to Congress pressing congressional representative and senator to pass anti-lynching legislation. They fought back in the court, feeling lousy when people were being mistreated or railroaded. The lesson of Red Summer would be relived all over again after World War II. Many of them were alive or had heard the stories of what happened in 1919, and they said, never again. Jala got mad at Abuxigan for he didn't seem interested in anything she said. I stared into space. She shouted, little boy, tell me something you have learned with your nappy dead self. You got your head up in space, and I'm trying to teach you something. We hear all Abuxigan stood up, James Wormley Jones, Jala said. What about him? Abuxigan bucked his eyes and shook his head, hello, the first black special agent for the FBI in 1919. He was a cop in Washington, D.C. But he left to join the army during World War I, where he was trained as an officer and assigned as a captain of Company F of the 368th Infantry, 92 ND Division with his brother. Company F of the 368th Infantry, 92 ND Division, was one of many segregated Wakatilian force in the army. They were sent to Europe and fought in France, near the Belgium and German borders. After the war ended, Jones returned to Washington DC and was promoted as an FBI special agent assigned to the General Intelligence Division, created in response to terrorist bombing. No one knew anything about him, not even other Wakatilian FBI agents, until 100 years later, in 2019. 100 of Wakatilian special agents have followed in his footsteps, including the first female Wakatilian, Sylvia Mattis, who joined the special agent ranks in 1976. In February 2019, the FBI honored Jones and the countless that followed him in their pursuit to serve the American people as FBI special agent. The agency launched a year-long initiative to commemorate the 100-year history of Wakatilian special agent service to the FBI and the United States through a coordinated campaign called Our History, Our Service. Abuxigan posed, how about Olodaikiano, also known as Gustav Uvasa, who was an African in London, a freed slave. Who supported the British movement to end the slave trade? Jala stopped him. You proved your point, you may sit down. Abuxigan shook his head, no, you are always talking about it, don't listen. The word nigger actually began as a sacred word in Africa, picked up by the Portuguese during the beginning of the slave trade on the banks of the Sacred River, Niger. They couldn't pronounce the word in their native tongue, so they corrupted it. Niger, from which we get the word nigger, which means Black Light of God, and Nigel, a common British name, means black god because black humans were believed to be the epitome of the divine before the slave trade. Because before the 15th century, all images of all god or God himself were black. All of this is documented. Black, not because of politic but because dark pigment from melanin, the molecule that protect from solar ray and produce dark skin, is vital in a world that lives by the sun. And I'm tired of Yael calling me, lil boy. Aneya said to him, was the youngest in the family? Abuxigan said, me. Jala said, are you a girl or a boy? Abuxigan said, a boy. Jala and Aneya said together, lil boy, a Jala continued, now, sit down, lil boy. Wanyeni que vues children grew and enjoyed their particular subject and taught in schools within the community. Pili fell in love with the science, Kamuzu enjoyed engineering, Masuda with mathematics, and Shabaka with music like Aneya. Tanesu enjoyed animal like Jala, Medje with medical and health, and Abuxigan was nonchalant about everything, and was not interested in any particular subject and just went to school because he was told. Wanyeni Kevu was concerned about what his teacher were saying and some of the commie heard about Abuxigan not being interested in some of his class. One day, Wanyinyi que vu Spock tout Abuxigain. Son, why are you not taking part in class and learning what they require of you? Abuxigain Ada. Familiar look, bu Wanyinyi que vu couldn't placit. Abuxigain said. He learn like a sponge, and after he learn, he store it for latte. No need to get excited to learn, for if it's the truth, he don't need to remember it, it will appear when he need it. Wanyinyi que vu scratch he said. Okay, like what? Abuxigain said. My mind is blank until you ask me. Wanyinyi que vu said, tell me something. About African history. Abuxigain, with a straight face, Dr. David Imhotep, who was the first person in the world to hold a doctorate en philosophy in ancient African ancestry. In his book The First Americans Were African, Dr. Imhotep rewrite orthodox history after examining the scientific and geological evidence, and determined that people of African descent were in America before the Viking, or the lies about Columbus. Et said that all humans originated from the continent of Africa. Historian Ivan van Sertima's book They Came Before Columbus examine navigation, shipbuilding, and cultural analogy between Native Americans and Africans. The transportation of plant, animal, and textile between the continent, and the explored diaries, journal, and oral accounts support the claim of an African presence in the New World century before Christopher Columbus arrived. In these books, they discuss the launching of the great ships of Mali in 1310 with 200 master boat and 200 supply boat, the sea expedition of the Mandingo King in 1311. Wanyinyi que vu smiled, ok, I am convinced. A Wanyinyi que vu walked away, et tried to think of who Abuxigain reminded him of. Et smiled and said Alou, Yael. Turnin to Abuxigain, et said. Do you know of Yael? Abuxigain said, never heard the name. What did they do? Wanyinyi que vu smiled, no, et is not in history per se, es someon in obu avente sinin. A long time, you remember of him. While he was talking to Abuxigain, Aldib Khaled Wanyinyi que vu. Wanyinyi que vu asked Abuxigain if he wanted to go, and they both took a trip to the Research and Development Center. Aldib talked to Wanyinyi que vu about some problem à Abuxigain walks off and views the systematic, you used pi à 3.14, if you use 39 digits. 3.1415926535897932384 Aldib said, 3 bu Abuxigain kept talking. 2643383279502888420, instead of the 3 digit, you will come closer, and the error leader. The entire number will fix this problem that a small fractional par means allow. Then recheck your calculation for the residence and capacitance. Aldib looked at Wanyinyi que vu. He say. What? Is the word? Savant or clairvoyant? Or something like that? Wanyinyi que vu smiled, es smarter than the average bear. Aldib scratched his head, well, I'll try that and see and believe me, I'll get back to you. You're not the first person who has shocked me. Looking at Wanyinyi que vu. 9 years had passed, and the entire territory had tripled, almost quadrupled, in size. Queen had her last child, a boy, Wanyinyi que vu, named Ntwa Dumla. Many people had married and were having children. The two who lived as Pi, Jem and Kenji, who lived in El Paso, Texas, were enlightened, Jive en land, and told to rest in peace for 2 years before being placed in a battalion. Kenji had the gift of self-healing and was placed with Daniel's regiment, and Jem had the gift of speed and was placed with Grace's regiment. Jem marié a beautiful woman named Enemen, Kenji marié Katrinka, Obe marié Enesta, she helped raise de Karish, and they had plenty of children. Elisha marié Tepkinset, Elia marié Thomas, Neri Glissar marié Lee, and Grace. Marié a man named Simeon. Merci marié a man by the name of Nixon. Friedrich marié a woman of great wisdom like himself, named Achien, and some years later, Daniel Marie Nagamao. Wanyinyi que vu and his family had incorporated the hyena a family emblem. They became part of the infantry and a typical species in the area. All welcomed them happy and gar, some lived in the wild. Training never ceased, enlightenment flourished, fasting and prayer were a routine as the people lived in peace and harmony. Years passed, and one night a Wanyinyi que vu was sleeping, and saw himself in the desert on top of Rinson Mountain to the east. Mlezi appeared to him. Long time, my friend. Said Wanyinyi que vu. Mlezi smiled, time, I do not know of time. But what is here is beautiful in the eyes of Sabaoth. Wanyinyi que vu said, I know, but it's been a long time to me, at least 25 years, Sabaoth has blessed me with a beautiful family. Et smiled I continued, and has also blessed me with Yael's twin, my son, Abuxigain. Mlezi looked at Wanyinyi que vu, it is true Abuxigain that Sabaoth will bring his blessing and his promise, but you must send him away, along with Entoi Dumla, to Louisiana, for his promise will be fulfilled. Two will live, but only one will come back. But don't fear. It is the will of Sabaoth to fulfill his promise. Wanyinyi que vu turned to look at the view inside but turned back around, if it is His will, it will be so. Turning to the ski, et shed a tear I noticed clouds forming to the west of him. Mlezi said to Wanyinyi que vu a faded away. It is his will, however, the animal you brought back from Africa will never harm those who are enlightened but will tear to pieces those who are not. Your reinforcement from Sabaoth. Send the elders and children home and prepare for war. Wanyinyi que vu looked at the sky, saw the clouds getting darker and darker, and said to himself, a storm is coming. He saw what looked like a man walking toward him, a tiny dot at first, but the closer he got to Wanyinyi que vu, he grew bigger and tall as the surrounding clouds grew darker, and thunder and lightning grew stronger and louder. A heavily muscular man walks toward. He man slowly transform into a hulk of a man, and his skin peel off, and blood drip and pourra éjetaler, turning into a hideous creature. E Yermchika's voice saying, John saw it rise out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horn 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. It was like a leopard, with feet like the feet of a bear, and a mouth like a lion. Wanyinyi que vu then awake out of his sleep. Looking at the time, Wanyinyi que vu realized that he had only slept for less than 5 minutes, slightly shaking Queen, baby, it's time. On the stand next to him was a picture of his family that was taken recently. Look at my family, Sabaoth has blessed me, and I don't know what will come of them. Looking up towards the ceiling. Bless them, Lord, you bless me, forgive them like you forgave me and keep them in your will you kept me. Taking the picture out of the frame, Jala and Aneya are now 24 years old, Pili is now 23 years old, Kamuzu is 22, Masuda and Shabaka are 20, Tanesu is 18, Medje is 17, Abuxigain is 14 and Entoi Dumla is 10. Wanyinyi que vu calls out, my queen, et rub the picture and repea it, my queen. Awaken, rubbing her eyes, she hear him call her name. Yes. Wanyinyi que vu wipe the tears from his eyes. Baby, it's time. We must send all the elders and those under 15 to my hometown until the war ends. Queen woke up. War. Wanyinyi que vu shook his head. He just saw a vision, and Mlezi said we have to send the elders to Louisiana, but one of our sons will not return because Sabaoth has a job for him. Whether or not we see him again, he didn't say, and he didn't ask because he must do Sabaoth's will. Wanyinyi que vu stood up and got dressed, poured himself a shot of liquor I walked over to his desk, and took a seat and wrote as the word flowed through different emotions that captivated him. He wrote, Louisiana. Not this shit again. Tossing and turning in my bed, with this junk dancing in my head. This mess that just left, they could have kept. What the hell is going on? Okay, listen. Louisiana. Top capital of the infamous slave trade, the place where music comes from. Yes. Soul, gospel, rhythm and blues, came from US. Why? The slave trade. The slave trade was from Africa, to the Caribbean, to Louisiana. Then back to Africa. En angle cycle, within a triangle. That is why Louisiana is rich in culture. That is why the French, Native Americans, and modern-day Louisianan has so much in common. After the chaos, we were left with Cajun and Creole down south. And Native Americans up north. Natchez and Choctaw. However, many left the south through those 400 years. Since our has been here in this land, of the so-called free. Moving up north and various places before, during, and after slavery. Now, the people up north wanna call us slow. Got Big Mama sitting on the couch. She's from the south, she's from Louisiana. But now she's in New York, Detroit, California. Food, don't get me started. Jambalaya, beignet, po' boy and mush, more. Oh, what about gumbo? We so famous for food, eBay we invented the two-piece combo. E logged and took for a minute, while looking down at his word, e wrote, upset. Upset. Done so much. Again, been so many place. Seen so many face don't have much. Took the wisdom he had, wasn't much. Wasn't good enough. The pain received was ignored. Had no value. Foolish thinking. Saying. Why take from those who don't have much? Take from those who have a criminal mind. Started to shine. Before understanding opened my mind. Then he realized. He was depressed. Stressed. Upset. He wrote, the night before. This is a reminder for me to read. So, he won't forget. How he went through a lot of bullshit, that was poured onto me, trying to reach a goal. Find out who was free, who was FOE. Right now, he don't think, if he have any more. But when he read this 10, 20, 30 years from now, he will know. Searching, listening, the night before. The word has kept me this far, but it's still hard, feeling like Daniel in the lion den. Wondering if God has forgiven me for all my sin. The night before. It seems if people get mad, even sad, to see someone make it to the top. Reach a dream. It seems like they don't believe in hope, but how many do believe in dope? He seen it all, the night before. If they can't see it, they say it's not there. They don't care. But you breathe the air. Is it there? You can't see the oxygen that you breathe, but it's there. You say that is different. He say it's the same. You don't believe in God, but he has opened my heart, my mind, my soul. The night before. All my life, he tried to do the right thing. No, that is a lie. There were times where he did do wrong, many times, he played many games. But he realized that it took hard work, he figured this all out, blessing comes, and sure enough, goes. There are many two-faced people out there, that will try to make you give up hope. The night before. He have seen all this come to life, it ended up in a fight. He was first mad, then he became sad. Ignorance played a big part. But I'm glad the Almighty was in my heart, he woke up the day after, thinking about the night before. When que vu puis spend down, staring into space I sipped on his drink, thinking about the world he wrote. He stood up, finished dressing, and then he reached for his earpiece and shouted, emergency meeting, now.